What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today we are talking birds, Eagles versus Giants, and previewing Eagles versus Bucs in the wild card. Joining me, he is Rob Lange at Philly_Madness. What is up, Rob?
I believe it's safe to say this is our generation's 64 Phillies the last 6 weeks. I think that's the analogy I'm going with, boys. The 64 Phillies, we're seeing it right now. It's pretty bad out there. But glad to be with you guys. I've missed you. I've missed both of you.
Absolutely. We've got Daniel chiming in. What's going on, Daniel? Guys, if you're watching us live, comment. We're also watching the college football championship here. Probably going to be doing some reactions to that as well. Also joining us, as always, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA on X. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. Just trying to survive a rough 24 hours in Philadelphia, apparently.
Yeah, it is 2024. You can just punt it to the moon already. I'm done with it. But let's talk about the biggest takeaways between the Eagles and the Giants. Lead us off, Rob.
I mean, look, I'll be very honest with you. It's the first time I've shut a game off before halftime in a really long time. I went back to binge watching Lupin, trying to catch up on Lupin because I couldn't. It was like one of those things where I'm watching it. It's obviously pathetic, but then at the same time, I'm like, all right, well, they're going to pull everybody soon because Dallas is going to start to do their thing. So I'm not even wasting my time. But, I don't understand what happened. I'm not saying it was clean the first 11 weeks of the season. It wasn't. But, I've never seen just a drop, out of nowhere. It just dropped off and nothing is working. Either side of the ball, coaches and players, nobody. I mean, this is not a put it on one person type of situation. This is put it on everybody. Everybody on that team is an embarrassment right now. They should be embarrassed. You heard what Jason Kelce said. It effing sucks. And it's a shame that this is what it's going to be. And this is the type of season it's going to end up being. But, this is what it is.
Yep. Here's a poll I ran. Who do you like? What's the biggest problem with the Eagles right now? And the coordinator's getting 62% of the votes, 23% to Nick Sirianni. The players getting 11%, and Howie Roseman getting 4%. Ryan, what was your takeaway?
That this team is lost and broken. This team couldn't even move the ball against the Giants, and for 18 weeks, they still don't understand how to counteract a blitz.
Yes.
I mean, and we are gonna see it on Monday night. I'll tell you that right now. And it's just embarrassing, honestly. And I don't really know why the starters were even in there at all. Let's be honest. No one thought the Commanders were going to beat the Cowboys. So again, it seemed a little silly, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint one thing, and it's certainly, I don't think it is one thing necessarily. The coaches have been just out of their depth. Coordinators don't seem to know what the hell they're doing, don't know how to call a play. The players, I mean, let's be honest, they are professional athletes, and they look lost out there like they've never played the game before. That is what is the most frustrating. It's like, do you need to have your hand held the whole time? Or can you just go out there and ball out and use the God-given gifts that you've been given? But apparently not. And yeah, everything shows. So I don't necessarily know if the locker room's lost. I don't ever want to speculate in that because we'll never know the answer to that. But we don't know what's going on in those meetings. We don't know what's going on in those players' heads or those coaches' heads. So I'll never speculate on that crap. But they need to figure it out, and they don't have a lot of time to do it. They quite literally, a week from right now, they'll be in the thick of it, needing to score some points. And they almost got shut out by the lowly Giants, for crying out loud.
Yeah, for pretty much sums up everything. vibing with as well. Like I'm not at the practices. I'm not in the locker room. I've been a Sirianni guy for the betterment of his career here, but like using the eye test these last few weeks, man, you cannot deny that the players have absolutely quit on this coaching staff. There is zero heart, zero fight, especially these last two games. The character we have seen is simply unacceptable on all facets. The Eagles lost 27-10 to the Giants, who ranked 31st in DVOA, 30th in point differential, 1 week after getting their asses kicked against the Cardinals, who ranked 29th in DVOA and 28th in point differential. Rob, this team doesn't look like a playoff team. Rob, this team looks like a high school football team. And the worst part, like you guys said, is like the flaws are top to bottom. There's so many issues on so many levels, from personnel to coaching to execution, the general manager. But like my issue is like the fundamentals, man. They can't tackle. This team can't even execute the fundamentals. Nicholas Morrow had 2 missed tackles yesterday. Zach Cunningham had 3 missed tackles. Shaq Leonard had 2 missed tackles. We've seen it over and over and over again how many times this Eagles linebacker core get exposed and exposed and exposed. In coverage, they gave up 12 catches on 13 targets for like 150 yards and a touchdown. Like that, we've been saying the same thing over and over and over again. And we're going to get into this poll right here, like who is most to blame in just a little bit. But like, I'm just sick and tired of this team having zero answer. We're in week 18. The issues the Eagles have been struggling with have showed their ugly faces from the jump, literally from the jump. The pass defense, Jalen Hurts and the blitz. There's been zero answers given by this coaching staff. Long story short, I hate the product we're seeing on the field. And worst of all, we're seeing the end of most likely Jason Kelce, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, and they don't deserve this, man. This is as bad as it gets on so many fronts. We have Mitch chiming in saying Michigan is up 17-3, but Washington is driving at 3rd and goal right now. Crabby Old Man says, I'm finally bummed about the Eagles. I don't have the anger like so many do. There are no Owens, Randall, what playbook, Cunningham, Ricky, for what Waters. They're well out of step, but they're character guys who lost their momentum. I don't see any character. I don't see any leadership. This Eagles team is soft from top to bottom, man. And that's my take. Let's roll on to our next question of the night. Should the Eagles fire Nick Sirianni, Ryan?
No, absolutely not. Listen, we are talking about a coach, whether or not you want to give him any credit or not. He still coached the Eagles to a Super Bowl last year, less than a calendar year ago. And he still ended up 11 wins. He still ended up in the playoffs. And you're going to base off a guy who, prior to this 6-game streak, I believe was somewhere in the realm of 33-12, at second best in the league in that span, only 1 game behind the Chiefs. It's pretty good, regardless of whether you want to give him any credit. He still did it. You also, need to understand how you're viewed in this league. When Doug was fired, it was like, wait a minute, what? Doug got fired. He won the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago. Like his team is making the playoffs. Like what? What's going on? You do this to Nick a year after the Super Bowl, you're going to get that reputation of, well, the owner and the GM have a quick hook. You screw up, you're out of here. And who's going to want to coach with that looming over them? You're going to lose out on potential good replacements, good coordinators, good coaches, good etc. for for the longest time until you rebuild that. So I think for that reason alone, and two, give the man a chance to fix it next year. Bring in the right coordinators. He took a swing and he missed. Okay, you know what? Let's not fire him for that. Get another shot in. Bring in better coordinators, maybe a little bit more veteran coordinators, and try to figure it out, because you obviously know you have the skills. You have the players for the most part in most positions, except for linebacker and safety. And you have the ability to turn this right around and get Jalen back on track and get this offense pumping 30 points, 35 points a game. So I'm not ready to give up on Nick. I'm ready to give up on them coordinators, get them out the door. I don't want to bring in, Jalen Hurts' friend or his buddy, that you need somebody in here who's gonna tell him exactly what he needs to hear. And the truth of that you need to be better. We need a defensive coordinator that wants to bring back the heart and soul of Philadelphia, and that is a menacing defense. I want to bring that back. I want to bring somebody in here who wants to knock somebody's block off. That's what I want. So bring in somebody, two veterans, coordinators. Somebody just mentioned Wink Martindale from the Giants just resigned. He's somebody I certainly wouldn't mind. But yeah, you can't give up on Nick. Come on, we're still watering this flower, baby. Let's go.
I love the glass half full take. Todd says, didn't Nick pick the coordinators? Not sure. I mean,
I don't know that. None of us know that.
Even if he did, so
what? And let's go back. Let's also go back to the fact that Jonathan Gannon friggin' held him hostage. Okay,
yeah,
so and the fact that they were in the Super Bowl, they had slim pickings and they took some chances. They were the wrong chances. But look, I agree with Ryan here. Okay, he's the only coach in the franchise's history to go to the playoffs. And
damn, what did he do after that? I'll never know.
He's frozen.
Yeah, he is. Oh, that's a shame. Well, listen, the most important thing he said was, I agree with Ryan.
My take is this. Rob will be back. But, Ben Johnson's sitting out there. And the Eagles need to take a hard, firm look at moving on from Nick Sirianni. I am on the opposite end. It's hard to argue that the Eagles are perhaps one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. It's beyond clear the players have zero trust or believe in this coaching staff. And that starts with Nick Sirianni. The players have to stop making mistakes and stuff. But, you can sense, at least from my perspective, that the players do not believe that this Eagles coaching staff can give them an answer on how to make this team better. For me, yes, Todd, the players have absolutely quit on Nick Sirianni. And we've seen it over and over and over again. Ryan, you touched on the blitz, man. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, the way have they performed? It looks like they've never seen a blitz in their life. No hot reads, very few slants, no involvement of Dallas Goedert. The supposed best offensive line in the NFL has looked clueless for many parts of this season. And as much as people want to put blame on Brian Johnson, this is still Nick Sirianni's offense. The bones and foundation of this offense is Nick Sirianni. And what we have seen through 18 weeks is a head coach that has steadfastly refused, has not been smart enough, has not changed anything, and has not made any adjustments all season long.
Yeah.
And for me, that starts at the top. And they most likely do not fire Nick Sirianni. But if he's the one that's controlling the play calls and the bones of this offense, look at Ben Johnson, who might be out there for a head coach who runs a Detroit Lions team that's third or fourth in pre-snap motion Amon-Ra St. Brown runs all over the football field. And imagine that route tree with a Devontae Smith. Imagine that route tree with an A.J. Brown just running around, being a safety valve for Jalen Hurts in blitz situations, getting defenses off balance, not being predictable, not just vertical routes and bubble screens. That's what I want to see. They need to adjust. And I don't want to say what I want to say. Yeah, I am going to say what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it. The Eagles need to lose on Monday night against the Tampa Bay Bucs. That way they can get in line and get Ben Johnson to Philadelphia, because it's not good enough. And I do not believe everything. Like, it's beyond clear that Nick Sirianni was as good as the people next to him in 2020.
So can I play a little devil's advocate here and say you are I would hope that you're not necessarily actively rooting against them, but are you saying this in a way that, hey, listen, this way the Eagles lose, they get out of the playoffs right away, and hopefully that wakes someone up to say, hey, listen, maybe we're not a good football team. Maybe we do need to make some changes.
I think the worst case scenario of this situation right now is the Eagles beat the Bucs and fool people to think that this is a good football team again, and we just run it back next year. That just cannot happen.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the thought process. I just didn't want people to freak out and say oh no, Dime's actively rooting against us.
Well, I don't think they're going to win either anyway. So
there's
all
that.
Right. That's that. Rob, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so yes, I do. I don't remember all this talk about pre-snap motion from the whole fan base last year when they were one of the top 5 offenses in the league. And I understand, yes, you got to change. And that's been the biggest problem I've had, is the adjustments have not been there. But you are about to create a franchise-altering decision if you're about to fire another coach after 3 seasons, okay? A coach that we hate it, but he's 11-6, okay? Doug was 4-12 when he got fired, all right? It wasn't like Doug had a great season, and it was still a shock to us. But, by the way, so I guess Doug Peterson should be fired down in Jacksonville then, right? Because that was coaching malpractice that took place down there this year. If you do this, first of all, Ben Johnson's not going to come here. Why the hell would he come somewhere that there's no loyalty from your front office? That the guy that was in the Super Bowl last year and had this team at 10-1 is out because of 6 weeks. I agree with everybody. It's been horrible, and he's at the forefront of it. But why does he not get an opportunity to fix this?
Yeah.
Why does he not get an opportunity? I agree, Dives. There's no way. I don't care what they do this year. Honestly, I don't care if they go to the NFC Championship game. You cannot run it back with these coordinators. You can't do it. You just can't do it. So, look, if we're sitting here having this conversation next year and nothing has changed and there were 2 new coordinators and it was the same shit, different day, then you know what, Dives? I'm right with you, man. All right. Hey, see you later. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to start 10-1 if they play the way they have the last 6. But I get it. All right. I know, I always seem to be pro coach. And I don't think it's that I'm pro coach as much as I'm, there's more to it. There's just more to it. And I feel like I'm not sitting here. This is what they think that because I'm saying don't fire Nick Sirianni, what I'm saying is he's been great. No, that's not what I'm saying. He's been god awful. Jalen Hurts has been terrible. But guess what? I'm not getting rid of Jalen Hurts and trying to move up in the draft to draft one of these top quarterbacks. It's too easy, and I think I get it. We're all pissed off, man. I was in that stadium against Arizona. I was there. Okay, it was humiliating. It was humiliating leaving that stadium. And no, not because I was in a onesie. Okay. It was just humiliating because of the game. All right. But I think you've got to give him a year to fix this. And if he can't, and everyone says, oh, well, what? So you waste another year. Jalen Hurts is young. Let's not act like Jalen Hurts is 32 years old and at the downside of his career. He's not. Okay. Give Nick a chance. But I believe that the coordinators cannot be Sean Desai, Brian Johnson, first-year guys. Get me, and I'm just going to throw the name out there because it's been getting mentioned today. Get me a veteran like a Wink Martindale who's done it before. Get me a veteran offensive coordinator in there that could say, hey, Nick, you're missing this. Because you're right, Dibes. He may only be as good as the guys around him. But I think outside of the elite legends, I think every good coach is only as good as the guys around them. And I think that it's important to get the right guys. And here's the difference. When he has his exit meeting with Howie and Jeff at the end of the year, I don't think he's going to do what Doug did and go to bat for a guy like Mike Roll, who couldn't coach his way out of a friggin' box. Okay. He's going to say, all right, so what do you expect? And people say, oh, because he's a puppet. Well, maybe. But I also look at that and say maybe he realizes he ain't that good without better help. So I'd like to give him a year for it. And I agree with you, Dibes. I don't think they're firing no matter what we talk about. I just don't think they're going to do that the year off a Super Bowl. I know that Howie and Jeff are quick triggers. That would be a super quick trigger for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to fire. I think the easiest fix is easily to get rid of the coordinators and, revamp.
Yeah.
And Todd says too much talent on this team to go status quo.
Agreed.
I'm with you, Todd. And this is just me, week 18 Dives, who is completely burnt and completely numb from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid off, man. Just rip the Band-Aid off. That's all I'm going to say. It's time. I've seen enough. So let's roll on to our next question. This defense is one of the worst defenses I have seen in quite some time. Would Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni swallow their pride and say, you know what, Matt Patricia, it's not working. The team is clueless. We're going to go back to Sean Desai in the playoffs, and he's going to do the play calls for the defense against the Bucs. Would you do that, Ryan?
No. And solely for the fact of the matter, it makes you look like a dumbass.
It does.
Honestly, like it literally makes you look like you have no idea you are coaching an NFL team. Like, seriously, you're going to switch right back because of 3 games? Like, yeah, listen, the defensive coordinator, whoever the hell it is, it could be you, it could be me, it could be Rob, it doesn't matter. They're just going to suck. I mean, you can't do anything when you're literally picking up guys off the couch to play linebacker, and now our best young safety's hurt. Well, now, I'm sure some bum safety is going to come in and help us play. But listen, no, that would be so full. It would be the laughing stock of everybody. I mean, we already are. So, listen, I get it. Patricia has not been great, but let's be honest. Is there really a difference? It's crap and more crap.
My quick take is it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right.
They are what they are at this point. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are gas. Josh Sweat hasn't had a sack since week 10. In fact, Keely Ringo has the same amount of sacks as Josh Sweat since week 10. Sidney Brown's out for the year.
Yep.
This team, there's no answers. So I'm going to say no, just for the fact that they are what they are. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I think it looks foolish. I don't think there's any chance in hell that they do it. If they do it, it's not going to be announced, and you're still going to see Patricia on the sideline, and you're going to see Desai upstairs, and it's just going to be like an in-house thing where Patricia
Yeah.
looks like he's calling the plays, but
Yeah.
it's Desai giving him the play. Like it would be some random stuff like that. There is not a chance in hell that these guys make them. And like you said, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like the offense has the talented pieces. The defense is just whole after whole. And like Dive said, your rookies have nothing left, right? They've hit guess what? They better work on their damn conditioning. As great as Jalen Carter played this year, work on your conditioning. But like,
dude, I'm watching the Lions game, and Brian Branch is flying all around.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
That one hurts.
But I will say
you could have had him.
Oh yeah. The only change that I would make is that there would be 0 plays where Hassan Reddick is in coverage. It does not make any sense to me. I just and like that, if somebody wants to put that on Nick Sirianni too, that's fine. But Jesus Christ, what in the hell are we thinking? Like, come on, you got to be better than that, man. Like that is just ridiculous. Stupid.
We need to basically play a system where we have like at most one linebacker on the field at all times. I don't care. I don't care if you're putting, you're signing, some rando defensive back to go play. I'd rather see some bum defensive back than the bum linebackers we've had out there. Honestly, I mean they can't cover a lick. I don't want my edge rushers covering. I don't want my linebackers covering. I don't want half of my D-backs covering, but I don't have a choice. Yeah. So I'd rather see them than anybody else. To be
Can they, Dibes, you might know the answer to this. Can they get out of that Bradbury contract at the end of the year?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
I think. Hold on. I think I have it up here. I think it's a boatload of dead money.
Yeah, I don't think they can get out of Slay or Bradbury. I think they can trade him, but there's going to be a dead cap there.
Yeah. So next year, Slay's cap hit is about $11 million, but it's a $35 million dead cap hit. And Bradbury, got to go further down this crap list. Hold on.
He's so bad, man.
He's so bad. It is a $17.2 million dead money hit. He's only on the cap for 4.7.
Okay, so they're both going to be here, but maybe a young guy could take a spot. I mean, look, I'm not as out on Slay as I think everybody else is. I think more people are out on Slay because of the way he's run his mouth a little bit. People didn't like that. But like, if you want to try and get if Keely Ringo keeps up, I don't mind putting Bradbury's ass on the bench. Like I really don't. But I mean that's a conversation, for Tuesday after they lose. Right? Dive said that they're definitely losing. I got them. Listen, just because I've been a fan of this town long enough, not because I think they're good. I think it's a stone cold lock that they win Monday. I think it is a stone cold lock because then you get a little bit, everybody be a little bit more, and then they'll go into Dallas and get their freaking doors blown off. And it will be the worst way to end such a horrendous season.
Yeah, no, that's the perfect Philly way of giving us one last little bit of hope and then twisting the knife a little deeper as we get either blown out by San Fran or Dallas, whoever it is. Either way, it's gonna hurt a lot.
You're not fooling this guy. Absolutely not. if they win 48-0 against the Bucs on Monday, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. We all know this story.
No, that's pretty impressive.
48-0. You'd be impressed, Dives. Don't
you would. You'd be like, oh. Guys would be coming out with the daily Twitter videos on.
Guys would have the eagle chain on. He'd have the hat that flaps with the wings. He'd be all fired up. They want
the sunglasses. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Todd says, "Does Patricia go or stay? He needs to go far, far, far.
Put him in the Baxter.
Put him in the closet, the third closet in NovaCare. He needs to go." Do we lose Kelsey, Lane, BG, and Fletch this year? Probably.
I think you lose 3 of them.
Lane is staying. I believe he's going to play out his contract, but I think the other 3 are gone.
I think Kelsey's gone, and not gone to another team. I mean, just retire.
Retire, yeah.
I think BG, I think may try and play somewhere else, but I don't know, man. Like, and Fletch was good early, but you saw when he had to start playing more, he just kind of fizzled.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
And look, and I can't blame it on those three if they leave. You know what I mean? And it's a shame it goes out this way, but I think Lane's here next year. I don't think Lane's going to leave next year. I really don't.
Yep. All right, let's roll on to just a quick preview against the Tampa Bay Bucs. The biggest reasons why the Eagles will beat the Bucs in the wild card is, I'll lead us off, and it's got to be the offense, and it's got to be Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown getting their head out of their asses and putting up points on Monday night. The numbers speak for themselves. Through 12 games, the Eagles had 32 offensive plays of at least 25 yards. That was seventh most in the league. Over the last 4 games, Hurts only has 1 completion of at least 25 yards. And then you get to A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had 13 catches of 25 yards the first 8 weeks. He's just had 2 the last 9 games, man. This offense is spiraling. It is dead. They're giving up the ball. They're out of sync. The offensive line is getting pushed around. The communication is horrible. Jalen Hurts and Sirianni don't know what to do with the blitz. Brian Johnson doesn't know how to handle a blitz. It is top to bottom bad. But for me, if the Eagles want any way to beat the Bucs, it's got to be Jalen Hurts playing like an MVP. It's got to be A.J. Brown playing like Tyreek, one of the best wide receivers in football, and those two getting on the same page again. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the offense, but I think it's look at what you did in week 3 or 4, whatever it was that you played them. You ran the ball for over 200 yards. And I think, how do you win when your defense is as pathetic as they are? You keep them off the field as much as you can. So I know that they don't like methodical drives, right? They talked about it all year, but that's what you need to do now. You have to protect your defense. They're not good enough to be on the field for even half the game. Like, they got to be on the field for less than half the game. You have to control the time of possession. You have to make good decisions throwing the ball. So, listen, I think that their short passing game had been good when they would do it, but they just stopped doing it. But I think it's got to be DeAndre Swift. I think it's got to be, I can't believe I'm saying this, Kenneth Gainwell. I think you've got to control the clock, and then you let Baker Mayfield be Baker Mayfield. And I know he's played well, but, if he starts having the press, then even a bad defense, what do they say? Every squirrel could find a nut, even a blind squirrel could find a nut. I think that's how you get the turnovers. So to me, it's control the game through the run game, something they've not done this year enough. But, it's a playoffs. I mean, if they're not going into this saying nothing else has worked, let's throw everything we possibly can think of at them, then, you're not going to win.
Anthony says, make Jeffrey Lurie sell the team.
Wow.
Man, we go from 0 to 100 in this town, man.
Sure do.
What about you, Ryan?
Yeah. Listen, it's got to be the offense kind of showing some semblance of them knowing what the hell they're doing. Jalen absolutely needs to step up, and this Bucs defense, is not that great. I mean, listen, anybody who watched that game last week against Carolina knows that this team is not very good, but we're not very good right now either. So something has to give. I mean, there's literally nothing that on this Eagles team outside of like the special teams that you can literally say like, hey, doing pretty good. Well, that's not bad. Literally the special teams has always been shit in this town. And now all of a sudden it's the best thing we got.
Number one.
Yeah, one of these has to step up. So either the offense has to figure it the hell out and start moving the ball, you start running the ball, not go away from it, or the defense has to make some play, some turnover, some pick six, some amazing play that saves the game and they win it that way. I mean, literally, that's the only way I feel like this is going to happen. But either way, I'm predicting this to be the ugliest playoff game in probably the last decade. It is just brutal.
In a game that the Tampa Bay needed to win the division.
Yeah.
They scored 9 points against the worst team in the league.
The worst.
Okay. So if there's someone that the Eagles can beat right now, I don't know. I feel like they maybe.
Those are big words coming from an Eagles fan where they just got their asses kicked by two of the worst teams in the league.
Also true.
And by the way, like, we're a primarily Eagles Philadelphia YouTube channel. 60% of the vote thinks the Bucs are going to beat.
Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
because everybody's down. Nobody has anything positive right now. Come on, you know us. You know this now.
All right, let's roll on to our next question. Last question of the night. The biggest reasons why the Buccaneers will beat the Eagles in the playoffs. I'll lead us off. We already kind of touched on a little bit, but for me, it's Jalen Hurts and the Eagles figuring out the blitz. That's it. You know, this Bucs team I think runs the third highest blitz percentage in the NFL among playoff teams. The number one blitzing percentage team in the NFL, 37.9%. We all know about Jalen Hurts and his struggles against the blitz this year. 60.5% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 3 dropped interceptions, a quarterback rating of 74.1, which is 28th in the NFL. The regression of Hurts in that area is so bad. The play calling and how to manage those blitz is even worse. It's got to be Jalen Hurts figuring out the blitz, because Todd Bowles, he's coming, man. He's going to have this team coming at the communication on the O-line, the Eagles running backs. You know, they better be ready to pick up some guys, because the Bucs will be sending them on Monday night. What about you, Ryan? What are the biggest reasons why the Bucs will beat the Eagles?
Because the Eagles suck. Honestly, I mean, I think we all know exactly what I mean when I say that. We can't get out of our own way. We got 2 coordinators who couldn't who couldn't call a toddler pee-wee football game, much less an NFL game. You have a quarterback who just, I don't know, you lose your coordinator, you forget how to, throw an accurate ball. You forget how to, read your routes. And you have a head coach who just refuses to run the ball, even though it works at a great clip, because you have one of the best, rush offensive lines in the league. But, whatever. Kenny Gainwell was looking like Emmitt Smith out there last week. And then they were like, nah, we're done with that. So they can't get out of their own way. Honestly, that's why we're going to lose. It's not because the Bucs are going to do anything good. Come on, look at that. Baker Mayfield, get out of here. I could beat Baker Mayfield. For the love of God. This team can't, though, because they can't get out of their own way. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of it. The only hope we have is that Big Dom is coming back from his suspension.
I like it.
Hence the tracksuit, baby. We're doing this for Big Dom on Monday night, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely love it. James says, as a Cowboys fan, it's obvious Jalen is playing injured. He can't run and be dynamic. That's a huge component to this offense. Great comment there, James. Jordan Davis got fat because he ate in New York City. Okay. Michael says Eagles are going to get blown out 31-7. Michael, I think we might be on the same page. Anthony says, go Pack, go. Absolutely. Todd says Jordan Davis is going to be in the movie Fat Albert 2.
Man, that's messed up.
Man, brutal.
Yes.
Anthony says Bradbury can't tackle or recover because he just came from a fashion show. All right. Rob, what are your biggest reasons why the Bucs will beat the Eagles?
Well, because the Eagles can't stop anybody. They can't tackle. When they finally get a little rhythm going offensively over the last 6 weeks, I feel like it's that, whether it's the quick slant fumble from A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith in a game. They've had really, it's one thing to have turnovers. It's another thing to have these like just killer where you're actually starting to get into a rhythm. You're moving the ball. You're into the opponent's red zone. And then you have a great pass play and it works. And then they fumble the ball. It's those things that are going to beat the Eagles. I do agree. It's not going to be the Buccaneers beating the Eagles. It's going to be the Eagles beating the Eagles because that's what they've done. That's what they've done. Look at the Cardinals game. You get one stop in that second half, you win. May not be pretty, but you put 31 points on the board, you probably win. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
big interception.
That's big interception. Yeah, I saw that. I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, I did he catch that? I don't know if he caught that or not, but that's an amazing catch if you ended up with that. It was a tip pass, and Will Johnson, really talented corner for Michigan, who'll probably be a top pick in 2025. Just caught it. Yeah, I think that's an interception. That's impressive.
I didn't see it, but it's not incomplete.
I think he got it.
I think his hands are under it, man. Yeah. I think that's
Here's the angle. Here's the angle.
I'm not even watching it. Incomplete.
On the first play of the third quarter, can't tell.
That's rough.
That's a pick.
Damn. Yep. And they just scored right before half too. Damn it, Washington. Come on.
His left hand just covered the tip of the football.
Yes.
As he was falling. That's crazy.
That's unbelievable.
That was so close.
Wow.
Anyway, that basically wraps it up, man. I guess we'll do score predictions and we'll do final thoughts and plugs. Lead us off, Ryan.
Man. This season was a long one, but it always
felt like it was season one.
Yeah. It always seems like it just always comes up real quick, and before you know it, season's over. But listen, I had a lot of fun talking Birds this year, going to the games, being there, cheering on this team, even though they didn't deserve it a lot of times. And this is the way it ends. This is the way it ends. But I have hope for the future. I like some of our youth, and I'm really hopeful for the draft. But anyway, I haven't picked against the Eagles once this year. I'm not going to start in the playoffs. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go 13-10 Eagles in the ugliest playoff game you'll ever see in your lifetime. And I'm going to go MVP is. Random person. Blankenship.
Ooh, I like it. All right. Anthony says the NFL script says Eagles will beat Tampa. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it's because of the NFL script, but I do believe the Eagles are going to win the game. I believe they'll do just enough. I believe they will, figure out I think it'll be a very similar game to the last one they played down there. Beginning of the season. I can't remember the final score of that one, but I'm going to go 27-17 Eagles. I'm going to go our man DeAndre Swift as the big name. He's the reason why it happens because I think they keep feeding him the rock. I think he gets a couple touchdowns on the day. And, I don't think the defense is great, but I don't think the defense is good. But I don't know if you have to be. If you can keep their offense off the field, I think they'll end up making more mistakes as they press. And I think the Eagles get a pick late. And all was happy for 5 days until they lose by 30 to San Francisco or Dallas.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, did you say 21-17?
27-17.
27-17. I'm going to go 21-17. Bucs get the win on this one. I'm done with this team. I am fully ready to move on, clean house, and other than special teams, there are zero parts of the Eagles that makes me believe they can prove me otherwise. They have shown it over and over and over again. This team is gutless. They have zero heart, zero fight. Like, they're already saying, well, we're going to find out what what we're made of. I believe it was Fletcher Cox. You just had a stretch of games where you just needed to win one, and you flat out sucked. You flat out sucked, and there's been plenty of opportunity to show otherwise. So you have failed again and again and again. I do not believe the Eagles will be able to just flip a switch and say, we're good again. That's not how the NFL works, man. You look at last year and the way they were cooking to finish 2022. So 21-17, Bucs get the win. Finally, this season will be almost over. Fletcher Cox? What about Cox? I don't know. Player of the game? Fletcher Cox?
I think he's just being funny.
All right. But anyway, if you love the NFL draft, we're going to get heavy into NFL draft season. Tons and tons of content on there already. This is suddenly a massive year for the Eagles when it comes to the NFL draft. They have 3 picks in like the top
60,
58, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably lower now.
Yeah.
It was 60 prior to this week. So,
yeah. So, we're going to start pumping out a lot of stuff, individual scouting reports, top 10 positional rankings, you name it. It's all there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for that. Huge offseason for the Eagles, especially one that's going to get younger in a lot of main positions. With
linebacker.
With a lot of key guys on the way out. So be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you everyone for watching. Party on Broad is Monday nights at 9. He is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA, and Eagles season memorial down there at Philly_Madness. Rob Lange, I'm Dives. We'll see you next time. Stay awesome, everyone.